In this video, I am sharing home styling tips to consider if you want to sell your home fast and you want to sell it for above asking price. These tips are easy, achievable, and they will not break the bank. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to share with you some tips on how to prepare your home for a very quick sale. In fact, even getting above asking price. I have things that I have done in my previous home that I personally have sold for well above asking price by just doing a few simple things that are very cost effective. So let's get into the video. So one of the very first tips that I want to share with you is when you are considering on putting your home up for sale, one of the main things, it's almost a non-negotiable, is to make updates. You cannot put your house up for sale without making some type of updates. People today are wanting things that are very modern and fresh, sometimes cutting edge. And if you have an older home that has sat for 10, 15, 20 years without it being updated, you're going to probably have a very long time selling the home because people only see dollar signs of replacing all of those things that you failed to do. But there is a workaround. Say you have a very old home and you don't have a large budget to call in a contractor to update it all. These tips that I'm about to share with you are going to come in very, very handy, and they're going to save you a lot of money. Here's some tips that I have if you have an older home and how you can work around refreshing it and making it look brand new. I always believe, and I think a lot of real estate agents will also agree to this, that two of the major selling points are kitchens and bathrooms, primarily because kitchens is where most people come and gather. Families come and gather. So people really love a well-designed, comfortable kitchen. So that is something that I had to take into consideration before I put my house up for sale. So one of the things that you want to consider when you are updating a kitchen that's a little outdated is to paint your cabinets. It's a very cost-effective way to bring a complete refresh to the cabinetry without spending thousands of dollars. Guys, I've said this in previous videos that a can of paint can really transform a space. And in my case, when I was updating my home, I didn't have upper cabinets. When I got into my home about midway in of the 4 years that we lived there, I removed the upper cabinets and decided to put open shelving. Now, in thinking about that decision, was I thinking I was moving in 4 years' time? Of course not. However, my husband, being the amazing planner that he is, he saved those cabinets. He mounted them in our garage and used them as just excess storage space. So I am so incredibly thankful that he had done that, because that meant that we didn't have to go and buy cabinets to replace and put uppers back up there. So we took our cabinets off of the garage and we mounted them back up onto our kitchen. However, that led to a whole slew of problems because that meant that the backsplash that we had placed on there had to come down. And with that also came the cement board or the backer board that attaches to the tiles. So there was a whole renovation that wound up happening. It's like we opened up Pandora's box. But nonetheless, we pulled through it and we got the upper cabinets up. We just bought some very, very basic 78 cents a tile, subway tile, and gave it that very clean, sort of French bakery type of look to the kitchen. You can also refresh your kitchen by updating the blinds or the curtains that have been there for many years. Curtains are another game changer. Curtains can completely transform your space in an instant. And that's what I did. I actually went on Amazon and I bought this beautiful French pinstripe valance and added it to the window, and it just really made it pop. It was simple and neutral tones, and it was really, really beautiful. Another important key when you're refreshing your kitchen on a budget is to consider changing the hardware. Guys, all of the hardware that you see in the kitchen refresh video was all from Amazon. So we changed all of our hardware to a brushed brass, and it really elevated the kitchen and it made it look so much more expensive than it was before. One of the other, I think, important keys to selling your home is to thin your space out. My real estate agent, I love her so much. This is always on her lips when she comes to my house. Thin it out, thin it out, thin it out. It needs to be thinned out. Mainly because even as a minimalist that I was, and even as big as the house was, I still had too much stuff. And that was things sort of stored in hallways, things in bedrooms, things in basements, basement closets. So if you have a very busy closet or some busy bedrooms, consider pulling most of that stuff out. The last thing you want is a buyer to be feeling anxious or detoured from being in the space because there's just so much stuff crammed in there. People feel a lot when they walk through a home, you know. It's just like if you were to go to a spa. Let me just paint that picture for you. If you go to a spa, you are invited to soft music, dim lights, neutral tones, the scents that are there. And so it becomes a created, inviting environment. And likewise, when you are buying a home, you are envisioning yourself living there. You're thinking about your kids growing up there. You're thinking about the holidays and your family gathering there. So when you are preparing your house for sale, you have to take into consideration other people's assessment of your space. And if it's crammed with chock full of nuts of things, it may overwhelm them and they want to get out of there as fast as possible. So please keep that in mind to thin out your space, thin out your closets. Maybe if you have the budget, you can rent a small storage container. Maybe a friend can rent you a closet. Maybe you can go to your parents' house. Maybe you have an attic and you can just store things in a chest up there. Whatever you have to do, guys, just do it. It's really important. One of my favorite tips is to keep the color palette neutral within the home. And if you already have color and pattern and wallpaper, I'm not saying the house won't sell, but we want to sell that house quickly and we want to get top dollar. And this is the way to do it, guys. I'm not saying that your house is not going to sell with dark tones, with wallpaper, with prints, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that if you want to sell your house for top dollar and you want to sell it quickly, following these keys are going to really get you there. Keeping a neutral palette is very inviting. It's soft, it's serene, it's tranquil, it's all these words, right? And that's what you want the potential buyer to come in and experience when they are walking through your home. If there's patterns and loud tones, it could overwhelm them. You know, typically buyers want a very peaceful place. They're moving for whatever reasons and they want home to feel home. When we go to view homes, we definitely are attracted to those ones that have like the pretty white kitchens. It really is inviting. It really is appealing to the eyes. It's very soft on the eyes and it's easy to have a nice experience when everything just seems calm. What I did was very natural for me because I already love neutral tones. I already love the classic design. All of my furniture was in the beiges and the whites, and my walls were white. And so I didn't have to do too much in the furniture department. And so my home was very inviting to potential buyers because everything in my home was kept soft and very engaging to see. One of the last tips that I wanted to share with you guys, if you are getting ready to put your house up for sale, is to consider your outdoor space. It is as equally important of how it looks on the outside as it is on the inside. Probably maybe a little bit more, only because when you are pulling up to the house itself, that's the first impression. That's the first impression you are going to give to somebody who is gonna buy that house. But if you want top dollar, if you wanna sell this house fast, you have to do a little bit of work to sort of get there. And one of the tips I did was to make sure that I had my grass trimmed almost every week when in the summer months. If you are unable to be in the home during that time, make sure that you go through a lawn service. It's about 30, 40 bucks a mow every week. It is a little bit of an upkeep charge, but guys, when you sell your house for maximum dollar, it'll all come back to you. So look at that as a small investment. Keeping your grass trim. Another thing you want to do is add charm. Add a wow factor to your patios and your deck spaces. If you have a deck, if you have a patio, if you have a beautiful outdoor entertaining space, that is where the buyer is really going to spend a few minutes sort of mulling it over. They're going to envision family gatherings and barbecues and lots of time spent outdoors. Is very important to people, especially if they have large families or if they just love entertaining, period. So adding character and charm to those spaces is going to maximize the value. It's going to get you quick offers. So definitely consider adding trees, adding plants, adding little inexpensive furniture that you can pick up from Marshalls or TJ Maxx, even Amazon Home. I bought a beautiful little teak set for about $200 right off of Amazon, and I placed it on the little patio. And guys, it just added so much charm to that little quaint space. I did add some plants there, and I put a little fire pit there. And so the space became very quaint, and it became one of the best selling points in the house because backyard, we really tended to it. We kept the grass mowed, we tended to our bushes and the trees there. So it's extremely inviting to those families that are coming in to visualize how they will live there. So guys, that is the end of this video. I hope that you enjoyed these tips. I hope that you put these tips to practice. If you want to sell your home quick and you want to maximize the amount that you will get for that home, follow these tips. These tips are probably the main ones you want to really stick to. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. I have tons of transformation videos, DIYs, and I even do some thrifting videos and show you how I style them throughout my home. So if you enjoy binge watching that type of content, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this week, and I'll see you in my next video soon.